Hey everyone, today we're going to break down the plot of the cool 2021 crime action movie Shark. The beginning, the main character, Jaeon Do-yeon, the youngest MMA fighting champion, is on his way home after once again confirming his status as the best fighter. Reporters even call him superhuman. He is surprised that the lights are off in the apartment and realizes that something terrible has happened when he sees blood on the handle of the refrigerator. The man runs up to his sister, who dies right in his arms. Suddenly Do-yeon is attacked by a mugger and strangles him with a rope, but the fighter easily overpowers the villain. Champion sees the bodies of his mother when two more robbers attack him. In a rage, he beats the three villains to death. The fighter is sent to a juvenile prison for exceeding the limits of necessary defense. He appeals for clemency, but so far to no avail. High school senior and eternal nerd Cha Woo-sol is about to graduate high school with honors in order to go to university. The teacher announces that a new student, Bae Sok-chan, who is the Korean junior boxing champion, has been transferred to the class. The students welcome the boy. The boxer immediately begins to press Woo-sol, with whom they studied together in junior high school, where he constantly bullied the nerd. For the guy tries to stand up for his good acquaintance, but the villain unashamedly beats the girl. The nerd asks the bully to stop, but he gets furious and beats him up in class. Woo-sol rises up and stabs Park Chan in the eye with a pen. The bully screams in pain. The guy goes to jail for causing grievous bodily harm. He's taken to jail on the same bus as Do-yeon. When they arrive at the prison, Ahn Yeon-min is surprised that such a puny guy is in jail for a very serious offense. The guys quickly become friends and join the guys who try to sit quietly and stay out of anyone's way. One of their leaders, nicknamed Olu, tells Woo-sol about the three most dangerous prisoners. The first is the fat brawler Lee Won-jun, the second is the curly-haired and bullying Han Son-young, and the third is the champion Jaeon Do-yeon. The inmates playing soccer are short of two players and they call Woo-sol and Yeon-min to the field. The nerd doesn't know how to play and just stands on the sidelines. The team captain orders him not to be dumb. Woo-sol then kicks the ball, but hits Jun's balls instead. Fatty gets mad and orders his guys to bring Woo-sol to a secluded spot to beat up the poor guy. The kid sees Do-yeon and throws himself at his feet, begging for help. The champion seems indifferent at first, but when he sees that Woo-sol is in serious danger, he tells him to follow him. Jun doesn't like this at all and yells and lashes out at the fighter. Hung Min tells his friend that he has made a serious enemy in Jun, who will wait for the moment to take revenge. Sol has a visitor. The guy is shocked to see a one-eyed boxer. The visitor says that he had to quit boxing because of an eye injury. The prisoner cries and apologizes, but the boxer yells that he will wait on Woo-sol on the outside and make his life hell. Jun walks up to Woo-sol, pats him on the cheek and hisses threateningly that he'll get the guy soon. Woo-sol sees Do-yeon practicing hard every day. He thanks him for saving him. The nerd cries that he's tired of enduring humiliation and insults, and asks the champion to give him some self-defense lessons. The fighter agrees on the condition that Woo-sol runs 100 laps around the prison yard in 40 minutes. The nerd runs alongside the champion, who outruns him lap after lap. The guy remembers how he was humiliated at school by bullies, and it keeps him going. This nightmare continued year after year. The guy felt like a complete non-entity at school. He wanted to get even with his life. Woo-sol falls down without strength. He vomits, but he doesn't want to go back to his past life and gets up again until he rolls on the ground unconscious. The warden calls Do-yeon over to him. He is proud that the world champion is in his prison. The warden is also very pleased that there have been far fewer fights and conflicts between the prisoners since the fighter arrived here. The champion asks the man to move Woo-sol to his large cell, where the fighter sits alone, so they can spend more time training. Do-yeon is surprised that Woo-sol is terrible at push-ups and can't do a single pull-up. "How do you live like that?" he says. Now the nerd does intense push-ups, pull-ups, and practicing punches every day. He also has to eat twice as much to gain muscle mass. Do-yeon gradually makes it harder and makes the guy do his best. The other inmates watch the guy's workout from the sidelines and marvel at how much the nerd has changed and gotten stronger in these few weeks. Woo-sol works out even when he's reading books. His buddy tells him the bad news. Do-yeon is about to turn 18 and will be transferred to an adult prison. A frustrated Woo-sol has no way to pull himself together during practice. When asked by the boy when the teacher will be transferred to another prison, The champion sharply replies that the student won't be able to hide behind his back for the rest of his life. Wu Sol sees Jun's henchmen track down Yun Min to beat him up around the corner. The guy runs up, beats up one of them, and takes his buddy with him. The next day, when Jun calls Wu Sol over to his place, the guy doesn't chicken out and comes over to the fat guy's place. Jun is about to punch Wu Sol, but the guy reflexively dodges and punches back. Despite having excellent technique, the guy misses a few hard punches. However, the guy is not going to give up so easily and fiercely confronts Jun. The fat man beats the guy severely and he falls to the floor. It seems like it's all over, but Wu Sol gathers all his will in his fist and gets up. He hits Jun's head a few times hard, he falls down, and the guy continues beating his opponent on the ground. Du Yun walks over and tells the student to stop. Meanwhile, in town, two thugs are yelling at the former boxer to get out of the way. He doesn't like it, so he blows off their car mirror. The bandits swoop down on the guy, but he easily handles them. The ringleader sees this and offers Sok Chan to join the gang. At first the boxer only grins, but when the ringleader sends him to the floor with a slap and promises to make him even stronger, he agrees. Soon Sok Chan becomes a member of the mafia gang. He often beats up people who are undesirable to the boss. The next stage of Wu Sol's training is sparring with his teacher. At first it seems that he has no chance against the master, but in time he finally begins to strike blows that the champion does not have time to reflect. Du Yun is happy for his student. He tells the guy to always stay focused, because his enemies will always be looking for his weak spot. Today, the champion is being transferred to an adult prison. In parting, Du Yun says that Wu Sol is like a shark that doesn't have a swim bladder. A disciple should always move forward. If he stops, he will die. A few days later, Song Yian approaches Wu Sol and offers to fight. The guy agrees only on one condition. If he wins, Curly and his gang will stop harassing and humiliating other prisoners. Soon one of the villains is released from their prison and returns to the same gang that Sok Chan is a member of. The guy tells how the huge fat guy Jun was beaten up by the tough fighter Wu Sol behind bars, and the boxer listens to his story with interest. Wu Sol is transferred to the cell with the guys he was in the beginning. Now there is a tough fighter called Captain. He offers Wu Sol to fight to decide who will be in charge, but the guy is not interested. The day of the fight comes, but Wu Sol is nowhere to be seen. At that moment, the guy is at a meeting with a visitor, Sok Chan. The bandit threatens the prisoner again and threateningly says that he's counting the days until the nerd returns to freedom to get even with him. This time Wu Sol isn't afraid and calmly looks into the thug's eyes. After talking, he comes to the fight. Song Yian immediately attacks the guy. His crowning trick is strong kicks and punches. The opponents fight on equal footing and hit each other with punch after punch. The curly-haired man gives him a painful hold, after which Wu Sol struggles to get up. The prisoners are sure that the guy has lost, but he can't give up now. Wu Sol gets up and continues the fight. After exchanging the strongest blows, Wu Sol performs a choke hold on his opponent, forces him to surrender and fulfills his promise. Almost immediately after the hard-fought victory, the guards come running in and separate the fighters. The guy is put in a punishment cell for 2 weeks, where he continues to train hard. When Wu Sol is released, the leaders in the prison make a peace agreement and promise not to organize new fights. The former enemies become good friends and spend a lot of time together. Finally, the day comes when Wu Sol is released. Before leaving the prison, the guy enters the playground and remembers the long hours when they were practicing here. On the way out, he's met by Sok Chan. Without further ado, the guys go out into the open and start a fight. The boxer, as expected, uses strong punches with his fists. Wu Sol doesn't have time to dodge and gets punched in the face several times. The guy ends up on the ground more than once, but he gets up again and again. Covered in blood, he gets up and keeps going. He remembers his teacher's words and strikes the bandit in the face. The exhausted bandits exchange blows, no longer defending themselves. When Wu Sol makes another fist, Sok Chan covers his face with his hands and falls to the ground. Wu Sol doesn't want to kill his opponent. He takes his clothes and just goes home. A few weeks later, Wu Sol visits his teacher in prison. Du Yun is happy to see the champion. The guys laugh and talk again about sharks that are always on the move. What do you think of the movie Shark? The beginning? Share in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you soon.